I said it before, and I'm going to say it again because my last page got deleted. Look, I don't want to see no white people on my timeline. I don't believe y'all. I don't trust y'all. I know y'all don't like us. I know y'all only tolerate us because it's the law. Because if slavery was back into the law, y'all would be the first ones signing up trying to see how y'all would get y'all a slave. I don't trust y'all at all.
If he says that, it's because so-called white people are hard to believe. Fortunately, slavery no longer exists. Otherwise, many of those who are pretending now would not hesitate.
I don't want to see none of y'all on my timeline. I know some of y'all are not racist, but majority of y'all are. If you were raised and taught in America, the great Jane Elliott said, you're racist. Because the systems in America is racist. Racism is not just calling somebody a name and calling somebody. That's prejudice. Racism is a system. And until you can dismantle it by using your privilege and speaking out and marching on the streets and calling your family members and friends out, I don't want to see none of y'all on my timeline.
In the U.S., racism is seen as a whole system, with some people having advantages and privileges, and he knows something about that. Imagine that from the moment you are born, you suffer from systemic racism even though you didn't ask for it.
I appreciate the folks that's speaking out and trying to be woke and trying to awaken your counterparts, but I honestly don't want to see y'all on my timeline. I immediately not interested, because it's been going on too long. Come on now, I'm 36 years old and we still dealing with racism in 2025? Come on now, you still judging people by their skin color? Come on! That is a mental illness. Something is seriously wrong with your community where you are judging a whole other community based on the way that they look, based on the way that God created them to be. But you call yourself a Christian nation, but you're judging people the way that God made them? Something's not right. Something's not right.
Hold on. Very careful. This is what I said. I said be very careful. Why are you?
Now it is up to white people to openly denounce this racism and assert that ending it will come from them. We have noticed that very often this lack of consideration comes from them. You are sitting there quietly one fine morning when a video of racism lands right in front of you.
White people, if we want racism to truly go away in America, our voices have to be some of the loudest in condemning it.
Even at the highest levels of government, this woman says they are trying to eradicate the presence of black people. Even on official websites, their photos are no longer visible.
If you've been paying attention at all, you know and you understand the aggressive attempt that is happening right now to whitewash our world. We've had many people with black or brown skin color removed from prominent positions within the government. We've even had their achievements removed from government websites. There's a blatant attempt to rewrite history when it comes to slavery, with some going as far as to say it wasn't that bad, or we should teach it more gently. And that's just the very tip of the iceberg.
It's unthinkable to believe that in today's America, we can do without other communities, blacks, Hispanics, etc. If you always keep your privileges and advantages, why not let others breathe a little? You're pushing them to their limits. America didn't build itself. They helped build it. It's time for everyone to benefit.
White people, do you want to live in a world that is completely void of color? Do any of you guys not hang out with people of different skin color than you? Where are your voices on their behalf? Why are things like this happening over and over again to them, and we are not screaming in enragement? And most importantly, why are we expecting them to do anything whatsoever to combat this? They didn't create this problem. People who look like us did. And people who look like us continue to perpetuate the problem. So then it's people who look like us whose voices have to be the loudest in condemning their behaviors. No, it's not okay to come after our friends who aren't white. No, it's not okay to minimize them. No, it's not okay to hurt or harm them. We are the ones with the privilege, and nothing is going to change unless we use our voices on their behalf. Nobody is better than anybody else because of the color of their skin. But our government is trying to send the opposite message. The only way to stop that is for our voices to be louder. For us to shame people for having such backwards and racist thinking. To call people out when they say the quiet parts out loud. If you're white, I don't know what you're waiting for. The time is now.
Build your own country. You didn't fucking build our country. You didn't build shit. Some of you worked here, yeah, but you didn't build. If that was the case, then you could build your own shit in your own country. Look at Africa. How great is that built? Tell me how great that's built over there. Wow.
Why, when they talk about Black Americans, do they always have to mention how underdeveloped Africa is? Not all Black Americans necessarily come from Africa. Black history did not begin with slavery.
It's a economic powerhouse over there, isn't it?
Not wrong.
Greatest standard of living on the planet.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Didn't even invent the wheel until the 1900s.
Well, you look at what a free market does for a country.
You can feel the aggression when he's talking, right? Translation. This is what he's saying. You guys should shut up. We've been hearing your nonsense a long time. And all you guys ever care about is trying to get more. You should be grateful from where you came from. Because we know what you live like, we know what your people like, and we know what's happened in your nation. And now you want to come over here and tell us what to do? You know what? We gave you an opportunity to come here. Yeah, you pay taxes. Yeah, you work hard. Yes, you have to obey the laws. But still, you're not the real citizens of this nation. And all you do is complain. The audacity. Go back to where you're from. You don't want to go back to where you're from? Because of what it looks like. Well, then shut up then. That's what he's saying. But the funny thing is, right, when we dial it back a bit and peel the layer and try to go deeper into the argument, oftentimes countries which are on top have, let's be honest, have taken violently from countries which had less or which had something to give, like minerals and all types of resources in Africa and other nations, and just been like, look, we want to conquer you, we can do it because we're bigger, stronger, there's nothing you can do about it. And then now their nation has grown or has boosted their economy and started from hundreds of years ago, which boils down and spirals into today. And then those same citizens look at those people and be like, look at your country. And don't bring up colonization, don't bring up unfair treatment and radical, disgusting, immoral human rights, violation of human rights behavior to get the privilege and position you're in right now. They just go back to your country. You haven't done anything here. The people are coming from that country to your nation to have better opportunity after what's been taken from them. Divide and conquer, destabilization. The audacity of racists and ignorance to speak like this.
They have forgotten everything that others contributed to the emergence of the USA. The workforce, inventions. In life, you have to be grateful. It's important for the future.
You should go back to Africa, says the old shrivel-up white man on his little motorized scooter directly to my face in the Costco dairy freezer. He literally told me I should go back to Africa because I am visibly like cold and shivering and holding myself because I have a sleeveless top on, literally what I'm wearing now. And I'm in the freezer, cold, just looking for my fruit for my daughter, minding my black business, minding the black business that pays me. Here he come, scooting over in his little scooter with a bright idea, because the way that he said it, he was like, oh, you should go back to Africa. I mean, look, you're cold. You should go back to Africa. I truly don't even know how I was able to compose myself. I'm a little upset because I really didn't even have anything to say or come back or nothing, because I was in such shock. I'm still sitting in the parking lot trying to like process what just happened, because I've never had such blatant, direct, in my face racism, like ever. And I don't live in an area where it's like all white people, or like it's a very diverse, honestly heavily minority area, mostly Hispanic. And so I'm just like, I'm shocked. I've never experienced this before.
To tell the truth, the people who say things like that to black people, telling them to go back to Africa, are immigrants themselves. We know who the real natives of America are. Everyone comes to the U.S. for the American dream. Anything can happen. You may succeed or you may not. There are black people in the U.S. today who can trace their ancestry back 500 years.
Can I start a trend here where we stop racism? Is there a way to stop it? I know that there's a lot of people trying to stop it, and there's a lot of people trying to find ways to counteract, people victimizing themselves, people calling each other racist, people acting like they're racist. Is there a way to stop this? Can we all have a heart for each other, whether we're black, white, pink, purple, blind, crippled, or crazy? Can we just stop pulling the race card every chance we get? Can we stop with the hate? Can we stop with the misdirection? Because when you bring up this subject to certain people, they try to misdirect it and make you look like the perpetrator. I just wanted to stop.
Racism will never end because people talk about it all the time. Every month, you'll see a video about it. We need to get used to it and educate our children to avoid problems later on.
TikTok's full of it now. It's everywhere. Comes on my For You page quite often now, and I don't know why, because I don't seek it out, but it shows up on my For You page. I'm not interested in it. I always put a not interested on it, and somehow a few days later it makes its way back. I don't want to see it anymore. Don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want anybody else to talk about it anymore. So if you agree with me, why don't you save this video, share it out with your friends. Let's try to start a trend where people are trying to really stop the racism. People are really trying to stop pulling the race card.
There were never white slaves, only black ones. This is one of the most ignorant statements imaginable. Slavery has existed across countless cultures, nations, and religions for thousands of years.
Of course, my sister, slavery existed among white people in Europe for centuries before they came to Africa. The strong enslaved the weak.
Yet, many black Americans make statements like this while comfortably living in privilege, loudly complaining about slavery and racism, even as millions of people around the world remain trapped in modern-day slavery. They spend hundreds of dollars on their EBT cards at Walmart, live in free housing, and still insist America is unbearable. All I see are spoiled, privileged brats who insist on playing the victim no matter how much others try to accommodate them. The truth is, most of these complainers wouldn't last a month outside this country.
Yesterday in the gym, some random guy stopped me and he said, can I ask you something, mate? Are you doing some work on that house by the seafront, the white one? And I said, no, I live there. That's my house. And the look on his face, and so instead of just going, really sorry, got it wrong, he decided to carry on digging his hole. He then said, well, my wife and I were walking past earlier on and we saw you getting some stuff out the boot and we thought there might be some tools. Oh, jeez, man, I'm thinking, okay, this one's for me, is it?
Because of racism and jealousy, they cannot understand that black people deserve certain expensive things in life, such as houses and luxury cars. In their minds, black people have always been poor. Black success is a revelation to them.
So anyway, we had this really strange conversation where he's trying to justify why he thinks I look like a plumber or an electrician. Man, I'm thinking the casual racism. Anyway, I thought, fuck this. I just walked on. I said, no, mate, I live there. Fine. I just carried on walking. But it reminded me of another situation many years ago. I was working up in Jersey, the Channel Islands, and I was staying in a 4-star hotel, right? And a really posh hotel in the center of town, and through the company. And basically, I walked into the breakfast room where everyone has their breakfast, right? And as I walked in, one of the ladies who was in the breakfast room with her mate, she shouted to her friend who was getting a drink or something. She said, oh, the taxi has arrived. So anyway, I looked around thinking, what are they talking about? And I thought, oh shit, that one's for me, is it? The taxi's arrived. That's what she said. And I can't remember what I said at the time. I sort of just made light of it and we all had a good laugh. But she looked really embarrassed as well. And I just think, what is it with some people? Why have you got to take us there all the time? You know, the casual racism that you get sometimes, it's like, honestly, just stop.
That the rest of it?
I say no.
Huh?
You didn't say no to you. No. Why say no?
No.
Why say no?
No black. No black. No black.
A restaurant where black people are not allowed to enter, yet others are allowed in. Even if they pay, these Chinese people push them away.
Wait, what? Say that again, say it again.
Oh, let's go in.
No, I didn't come up with trouble.
Where's the menu? Menu?